the arguments in favor of the games. The people sent to the arena were criminals deserving of death. Those now before him belonged to a religion that encouraged the overthrow of Rome, yet he couldn't help but wonder if a society that murdered helpless children didn't deserve to be undone. The screams of the child sent a chill through Alexander's body. He was almost grateful when the lioness's jaws closed upon that small throat, extinguishing the sound. He let out his breath, hardly aware he had been holding it, and heard the guard behind him laugh harshly. "Hardly a mouthful in that little one." A muscle jerked in Alexander's jaw. He wanted to shut his eyes to the carnage before him, but the guard was watching now. He could feel the cold glitter of those hard, dark eyes shining through the visor of the polished helmet, watching him. He would not humiliate himself by showing weakness. If he was to become a good physician, he had to overcome his sensibilities and aversions. Hadn't his teacher Phlegon warned him often enough? "You have to harden yourself against those tender feelings if you are to succeed," he had said more than once, his tone ringing with disdain. "After all, seeing death is part of a physician's lot in life." Alexander knew the older man was right, and he knew that, without these games, he would have no opportunity to further his studies of the human anatomy. He had gone as far as he could by studying drawings and writings. Only by performing vivisection could he learn more. Phlegon had been well aware of his aversion to the practice, but the old physician had been adamant, closing him in a trap of reason. "You say you want to be a physician?" he had challenged. "Then tell me, good student, would you have a physician perform surgeries without first-hand knowledge of human anatomy? Charts and drawing are not the same as working on a human being. Be thankful the games give you such opportunity." Thankful. Alexander watched as one by one the victims went down until the horrific sounds of terror and pain were deadened by the relative quietude of feeding lions. Thankful? He shook his head. No, that was one thing he would never feel regarding the games. Suddenly another sound more dangerous than the lions began to hum. Alexander recognized it quickly, the ripple of boredom, the growing swell of discontent among the spectators. The contest was over. Let the beasts gorge themselves in the dark interiors of their cages rather than tax the crowd with tedious feasting. A dark restlessness swept through the stands like a fire in a cheap tenement. The warning was quickly heeded by the editor of the games. The beasts heard the gates swing open and dug in their claws and teeth more fiercely as armed handlers came out to drive them back into their cages. Alexander prayed to Mars that the men would work quickly, and to Asclepius that there might be the flicker of life in at least one of the victims. If not, he would have to remain here until another opportunity presented itself. Alexander was not interested in the drama of separating feeding animals from their kills. His gaze swept across the sand, searching for a survivor, any survivor, holding little hope that there was one. His eyes fell upon the young woman again. No lion was near her. He found that curious, since she was far from the men driving the animals toward the gates. He saw a flicker of movement. Leaning forward, he squinted his eyes against the glare. Her fingers moved. "Over there," he said quickly to the guard. "Near the center." "She was the first one attacked. She's dead." "I want to take a look at her." "As you wish." The guard stepped forward, put 2 fingers to his lips, and gave 2 quick, sharp whistles. The guard made a signal to the plumed visage of Karen, who danced among the dead. Alexander watched the costumed actor leap and turn toward the fallen girl. Karen leaned down slightly, his feathered, beaked head turned as though listening intently for some sound or sign of life, all the while waving his mallet around in the air theatrically, prepared to bring it down if there was. Seemingly satisfied that the girl was dead, he grabbed her arm and dragged her roughly toward the door of death. At the same moment, a lioness turned on the animal handler who was driving her toward a tunnel. The crowd came to its feet, shouting in excitement.